A second Bruins player has declared for the NBA draft. Lincoln Riley hints at big things for a USC running back. And what exactly is the Chargers' biggest need? Because it sure as hell ain't running back. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is March 30th, 2023. I am headed home to see my wife. I'm very much looking forward to that. Even grander, it is opening night in Major League Baseball. Should be opening day. They call it opening night. That part sucks, but we'll get to that in another time. Let's talk LA sports. If you enjoy the content we put out, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. We have a lot to talk about, as always. One of the great things about being an Angelino. Another good thing about being an Angelino, the scoreboard. LA sweeps in basketball last night. Anthony Davis scores 38 points. Lakers 121. Chicago 110. The Lakers are back at 500. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard may have been a last-minute scratch for personal reasons, which is concerning, but Russell Westbrook scores a season-high 36 points. Clippers 141, Memphis 132. Meanwhile today, over at the Ravine, baseball season. It's awesome. Dodgers are going to host Arizona at 7. Julio Urias takes the mound for LA. Zach Gallen, who was 12-4 last year, is on for the D-backs. Meanwhile, the Kings are up at Edmonton at 6 o'clock. Good times. So, I want to start by mentioning a couple of days ago, I was speculating. I outlined this scorched earth scenario where the entire starting lineup from last year's UCLA basketball team, all of them skip town and go to the NBA draft. I'm not predicting it. I'm not proud of it. I don't hate UCLA. You know, I'm a USC guy, but I absolutely respect what the Bruins do on the court. Here's the thing. It might actually happen. Defensive specialist Jalen Clark has declared for the NBA draft. This, along with a not so cryptic Instagram post from Tiger Campbell, suggests that Clark is going to be the second player of the 5 in the UCLA starting rotation to split. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is believed to be going as well. That would be 3. He hasn't exactly made his decision yet. Recall that Amari Bailey, a freshman, was considered to be one and done as a recruit. That would leave Adam Bona as the lone survivor. Maybe. Because there's a possibility, according to some people who follow NBA scouts and whatnot, that Bona might actually have more draft value right now than Bailey. Possible that all 5 gone. Now, to even add more pain, 6-man David Singleton has no eligibility left, whether he goes pro or not. So you're talking about possibly the top 6 UCLA basketball players gone. Clark, by the way, he was the first Bruin to be named the Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-12 since Russell Westbrook. And wait, Russell Westbrook? Russell Westbrook played defense? Who knew? Well, anyway, look, Clark, though, he had an Achilles problem toward the end of the season. Now, that may have led to the decision, because if you think about it, if you have an Achilles problem, which would you rather do? Would you rather return to college and play for like a little bit of NIL money, or would you rather rehab in a G League uniform and then jump up into the NBA and build a career? Now, having said that, just because he's declared for the draft, he can basically back out of the NBA draft on or before June 1st. But that is a storm cloud that's forming over Pauley Pavilion. Make no mistake. Lincoln Riley said the running back room with the Trojans are, quote, a real bright spot, unquote, in spring camp. but he singled out one guy in particular, sophomore Rayleigh Brown. If you recall, Brown made fans instantly as a freshman because he had blinding speed, and if you just gave him that little bitty break, poof, he was gone. He just wasn't at every down back for a variety of reasons. One, USC really trusted Travis Dye, and two, as a freshman, Brown didn't necessarily have the complete grasp of the playbook. So now what Riley is doing is he is challenging him. He said as much. He wanted to push Brown in the spring practices, quote, to get a full idea of what he can really handle, unquote. And how they are handling Brown? They're not just using him at running back. They're basically making him go in motion as a slot receiver. Can you imagine USC using Rayleigh Brown as, say, Darren Sproles was used in the NFL, or Alvin Kamara right now? If you can envision that, my gut feeling is that's exactly what Lincoln Riley is trying to do. Because that way you can have two running backs on the field at once, shoot Rayleigh out there to be a dangerous third weapon, get him out in open space. Extremely dangerous for USC if that turns out to be the case. Still, Riley also confessed that even though the running backs are a bright spot, the opposite is true over at tight end. Malcolm X. Yeah, Malcolm X. Former leader of the Nation of Islam, Malcolm X, is in the transfer portal. Anyway, Malcolm Epps is in the transfer portal. And Jude Wolfe is injured, so tight end is an issue. Finally, over with the Trojans, offensive lineman Justin Dedich said he is thankful for spring ball because despite the fact that the Trojans have a good amount of talent on their offensive line, they had to replace a few people, and they brought in some newbies during the transfer portal. This is the time where that offensive line gets a chance to gel together. So Dedich, who is returning, very thankful that he gets to hang out with his new partners. CBS Sports believes linebacker is the Chargers' biggest need after the free agency period is passed. Last year, you might have said right tackle as the Chargers' biggest need. Hell, this year you might even say right tackle if you think about it. But here is the argument that CBS is trying to put forth. The Bolts need to get stronger in the middle. Consider that they let Drew Tranquill go to the Chiefs. And by the way, where is Kyle Van Noy exactly? Now, Van Noy was very versatile. You could line him up on the edge when Joey Bosa got hurt, for example. But Van Noy was primarily brought in to play inside linebacker. So the idea is you need an inside linebacker to do the dirty work to try to improve the Chargers' run defense, which last year was absolutely garbage. It was not good at all. The Bolts are also under the assumption that cornerback J.C. Jackson will be back in time for the season. He blew out a patella tendon last year. They also added, in terms of injury news, they added that Herbert had shoulder surgery. Thankfully, it was to his non-throwing arm. Herbert should be back in May. Defensive linemen Austin Johnson and Otitio Ogbonia will play next season. Both had knee injuries last year. However, the Chargers do not have a timeline in mind for those two linemen. Wide receiver DeAndre Carter, part-time deep route runner, part-time substitute teacher, has left the Bolts and signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. 1 year, $2.3 million. There is a number of Chargers fans who think it's kind of amusing that the Raiders are signing a lot of Charger free agents. I'll be honest with you, I'm not so sure I find that amusing. I mean, say what you want about Carter, but he filled in admirably for the Chargers when you had one receiver after another get hurt. Mike Williams was hurt, Carter came in. Can't even believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. Keenan Allen got hurt. Carter filled in. Carter caught 46 passes for 538 yards and 3 touchdowns. And again, he's also a dangerous punt returner. So it's not necessarily a bad signing for Vegas. Minority owner Dia Spanos Berberian has put her 24% of the team up for sale. Now, I've never met the lady, but she strikes me as a bit of a stinker. Because if you recall, about a year ago, she was causing drama in her family, airing dirty laundry in public, and trying to file lawsuits in order to try and get in order to get her brother to sell the team entirely. And of course, that case eventually was dropped. The Chargers are allegedly worth $3.8 billion, which means her piece of the pie would average out to about $931 million. Now you might not be able to live on it, but that's a start. The Rams. We have spent a lot of time talking about how the Rams just lost a ton of talent in terms of run defense, how they let Bobby Wagner go, how they had to let a couple of how they let Greg Gaines go. And that's going to matter in the NFC West. The Niners run, the Seahawks run. But let's not forget to weep tears over how much the pass defense is going to stink as well. Because ESPN took note. How can you lose, if you're the Rams, Jalen Ramsey, Nick Scott, Taylor Rapp, Troy Hill, David Long, and Grant Haley, and still say that you have a decent amount of talent in the defensive backfield? You can't. You can't. Now understand, Hill could come back, but all those other 5 defensive backs have already gone somewhere else. The top 4 defensive backs in the Rams defense from last year, all of them gone. Every last one. Only 2 defensive backs from the team that made the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago remain on the roster. That would be Robert Rochelle and Jordan Fuller. After that, you've got 4 players who are entering the second year of their NFL career. How are you going to excel with that? So what's going to happen? Oh, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. You can sign players after June 1st without losing a compensatory pick, which, by the way, the Rams do not want to lose any of those picks. Now, at that point, who are you looking at? Let me throw a name out at you so you can feel sick to your stomach. Eli Apple. Eli Apple, the guy who used to play for the New York Jets and visibly quit on the Giants when the Rams went over to New Jersey to play him a few years ago. He just stopped in pursuit, and it was just a hitch route. He didn't even try to catch that. I think it was Robert Woods. Eli Apple, who later signed with the Cincinnati Bengals, and Cooper Kupp completely destroyed him in the Super Bowl. That is going to be one of the Rams' lead options after June 1st to sign. So no, this is not a good time for the Rams defense. The idea that they're going to make a charge in the playoffs, as COO Kevin DeMoss says, it's a fantasy for this year. It really is. Hilarious moment in last night's Laker game, by the way. If you recall how Patrick Beverley, he was trolling the Lakers on Sunday. He was talking crap to LeBron James. Well, Beverley drove to the low post where he was met by, you guessed it, LeBron. So Beverley started a pump fake, try to get LeBron to go make a jump. LeBron wasn't buying any of it. And he, by the way, not only was he not jumping with each pump fake, you could hear LeBron James literally screaming at Patrick Beverley, "Hell no, hell no, hell no." And so what did Beverley do? He dribbled back out to the three-point line and shot a brick. You might also recall how Patrick Beverley claimed the Clippers would have won the NBA title if it weren't for the COVID bubble a couple of years ago. Yeah, that didn't go over well. Former Laker Kyle Kuzma tweeted back, "Yeah, because they didn't want to be there, LOL." And he's right. Now, to be fair, I don't want to be too hard on the rest of the Clippers. Paul George said that he believed he went 2 weeks in the COVID bubble without a night of sleep because his mind was racing about all these doomsday scenarios due to COVID. Now, a lot of people had a lot of problems during COVID, so I don't want to I don't want to talk crap about Paul George for that. I do feel sorry about that. A lot of people were dealing with a lot of stuff then. We will be talking about the Dodgers season preview later today, but I want to leave you with a note on the Dodgers. Dave Roberts said the biggest surprise of spring training, quote, is how Miguel Rojas has, how Miguel Rojas has assimilated with our ball club, pitchers included, unquote. Roberts said he was also impressed with James Outman and Gavin Stone. Now, to be clear, Stone did not make the team. He's looking at Stone as a future addition. And as for Rojas, he is the everyday second baseman. Outman is going to get starts in center field when right-handers pitchers are on the opposing team. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about the status of UCLA basketball. Let me know what you think about Lincoln Riley's belief that Rayleigh Brown could be open up brand new avenues for USC's offense. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, we'll be back later today with the Dodgers preview. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.